What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's new episode, and I am excited for this one, man. UFC 320, the best card of the year, banger after banger after banger. We have Yuri Prohaska, Khalil Roundtree, we have Merab Dvalishvili versus Corey Sandhagen, and we also have Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Poatan Pereira. And we're going to get started with the very first fight of the card and get as many predictions as we can right. Now, there is a guy who is keeping track of all the YouTubers' predictions, and I just sent him an email. So I'm going to send him all our picks from now on to him so he could keep track and see how we do. All right, we're going to try to lock in, do our best, and let's do it. Let's do it here first with the very first fight of the card. So we have Veronica Hardy versus Brogan Walker. Now, Veronica Hardy is coming off a loss. Both these girls are coming off a loss, but Hardy takes every fight of hers to decision. So I'm not expecting anything different here, and I do think she's going to get the win against Brogan Walker. She has some decent technique, and I feel like if she does get a win here, it's going to be a decision win. So I'm going to play the safe route here and go on Veronica Hardy. Next fight, we have Ramiz Brahimaj versus Austin Vanderford. Now, both these guys are coming off wins, decent records, 12-5 versus 13-2. I believe Austin Vanderford trains in Portland, Oregon, at Gracie Baja. So, I do think that would be very interesting to see him. So I'm going to go Vanderford for this fight via submission win. I'm going to go with the third round submission victory for Mr. Vanderford on this second fight of a banger card. So, get your popcorn, lock in. I do think this next fight is going to be very interesting with Punahele. So we have Punahele Soriano versus Nikolai Varetnikov. And man, I looked up at Punahele's debut, and it literally lasted 31 seconds, and it was a knockout. So I'm gonna go Soriano via knockout in the second round against Nikolai Varetnikov. There's only a two inch height advantage for Nikolai, so it's not gonna be too crazy. I do think he could reach his chin, and that's my pick for the welterweight bout. Now on to our next fight. We have Mr. Patchy Mix versus Jacob Wicklass. Now, Patchy Mix did not have the best performance in his debut in the UFC. A little lackluster just because everybody was hyping him up like he was the next big thing. There was some holes in his game, a little bit slow off the feet, but I do think he's going to get the win in this next fight, and hopefully we get to see some interesting bantamweight matchups. Maybe we could see him against Payne Talbot. There's a lot of good names in the bantamweight division. 135 is freaking scary. So I do think Patchy's going to get the momentum back, get a win, and hopefully we could see some interesting matchups in the future. Now, next fight on the card, we have Macy Chiasson versus Yana Santos. Macy's coming off a loss. Yana's coming off a win. The biggest advantage, I believe, for Macy is her height advantage. She has a 5-inch height advantage, which is huge in the UFC. She's 5'11". Yana is 5'6", but I do think Yana Santos is going to get the win via decision here. I do think that the little more experience that she has in the octagon is going to pay off, and I do see Yana getting the dub here via decision. That's just my take. I know Macy has been fine for a long time, but I do think that Yana is going to get an upset win. Now, this fight I'm very excited for. This featherweight bout, we have Daniel Santos versus Ju Sang Yu. Now, I'm a huge fan of Ju Sang Yu, and I'm very excited to see him fight. People are calling him the Korean Conor McGregor. I don't know about all that yet, but dude has knockout power, and he is undefeated coming out of South Korea. I'm going with the boy Ju Sang Yu via knockout in the second round. That is my prediction. Most of these predictions I make, I'm really just trying to predict the winner. But if I could predict both and the round, that makes it even better. So we're going Ju Sang Yu for the dub, second round knockout. Let's go. Now, next bantamweight bout on the card, we have Chris Gutierrez versus Farid Basharat. Now, Farid is 13-0, so that we have to talk about that. This dude is just getting dubs, man. Now, Gutierrez, dog himself. I'm gonna go Gutierrez. His record is 22-5. I see this fight going the distance, though. I do think this one's gonna be a scrap, and I don't think Farid is gonna go down very easily. So I do see Chris Gutierrez getting a decision win here in the bantamweight division. So, very, like I said, interesting interesting fighters for the bantamweight division. Scary dudes. Now, we have a middleweight fight. After that, we have Edmund Shabazian versus Andre Muniz. I got the boy Shabazian. I'm a fan of Shabazian's fight style. I like how he boxes. He has very good striking, and I do see him piecing Muniz up for a third round TKO. Very interested to see what Shabazian has in store, and I'm gonna just go confidently for a Shabazian dub. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm predicting. Let's go to the next fight. Now, we have a middleweight bout. Abus Magomedov versus Joe Pyfer. Now, I'm kind of torn between this one just because Joe Pyfer's last performance against Kelvin Gastelum wasn't the most impressive. He couldn't really put Kelvin away. Kelvin kind of just, hung in there, especially in the later rounds. So, I do think Pyfer is going to get the dub. I know Pyfer has huge knockout power. Magomedov, I'm sure he's a hard guy to put away. So I'm going to go with a late third round TKO for Mr. Pyfer here. I see him landing like a clean right hand with a lot of hammer fists once he goes down. That's just my prediction. So we have Joe Pyfer for the middleweight fight. Now we're getting to the spicy ones. The last 4 fights on the card. Josh Emmett versus Youssef Zalal. Now, I think this one's going to be a tough one for Josh Emmett. I'm not going with Youssef, but I know that Emmett had a very hard time getting to Lerone Murphy in his last fight, and Youssef Zalal is known to just bounce back and forth and get a decision win. I do see a world where Youssef does not want to engage with Mr. Emmett on the feet, just circling around the cage for 3 rounds and just ends up getting enough calf kicks to get the win. If that doesn't happen with Youssef, Josh Emmett is sending this dude to another dimension, into the shadow realm, bro. Because Josh Emmett just look at his build, bro. This dude is insane. And plus, he's been training with TJ Dillashaw. So very interested to see if we see some major improvement with Josh Emmett. No, he had a lot of momentum going his way. He kind of took a break from fighting for, around a year or so, a decent sized break. But Youssef Zalal, he will bounce back and forth, bro. I guarantee that. So mark my words. This might be the case here. So I'm gonna still go Josh Emmett, knockout in the second round, but it's gonna be hard for Emmett to catch him. But we'll see. We shall see. Now, the people's main event: Yuri Prochazka versus Khalil Roundtree Jr. Man, both of these guys have taken L's against Alex Pereira, but besides that, any other opponent is pretty much night for the other person. So Khalil Roundtree is very patient. He finds his spots using that Muay Thai. Yuri is pretty much the complete opposite. I don't know how you could train for Yuri. This dude Yuri is, out there in the woods blindfolded doing he's fighting ghosts in the shadow realm. I don't know what he's doing for his training, but Yuri is locked in. He even turned down a championship fight so he could finish his degree in college. Like, this guy is locked in to the highest level, and I do think, Yuri Prochazka is going to give Khalil Roundtree some trouble. So I do think Khalil is going to have a good first round, but, Yuri might just switch things up and put this dude out. So I'm going Yuri Prochazka for the win. Let's go for that. Let's freaking go for that. Yeah. Yuri Prochazka, TKO, second round. Now, co-main, Merab Dvalishvili versus Corey the Sandman Sandhagen. Now, I was torn, man. I couldn't really make a decision of who I thought was going to win the fight. My mind was telling me Merab. My heart is telling me Corey Sandhagen. And I'm going Corey on this one, man. I do think Corey has one of the best fight IQ in the UFC to date. He's able to switch stances on a dime. He's very well rounded. He's not just a one-dimensional fighter. I'm not saying Merab's one-dimensional, but Merab, kind of know what his game plan is. He's going to take you down 40 times. You're going to get back up. You're going to spend all your energy, and he's going to keep on doing it and doing it and doing it and getting the win. Now, do I see Merab subbing Corey? No. Do I see Merab knocking Corey out, putting his lights out? No. So the only way I could see this going is 2 ways. I see Merab taking Corey down 50 times during the fight, getting a decision win, or Corey Sandhagen, stumbling Merab and putting him into a very dangerous position or submission. I would say putting him in a very dangerous submission, and I do see Corey Sandhagen getting the dub via submission in this fight. Now, I know it's a hot take just because Merab's such a favorite for this, but I do see Corey holding the belt at the end of the night and calling out someone like O'Malley or someone like that who who really wants to get the belt, So I do see Sandhagen finally accomplishing his dream of being the UFC champion, and this is his opportunity. So I don't think he's going to let it slip by just, letting Merab take him down. That's just my take. It's going to be a good one, It's going to be a very good one. So that's just my take. Corey Sandhagen, new bantamweight champion, saying it right here. So light heavyweight title belts. Magomed Ankalaev, the champion, facing Alex Pereira. Now, these guys are rematching. Alex lost his belt to Ankalaev, and it was shocking, to say the least. Now, it wasn't a very dominant performance for Ankalaev, but watching the fight, we were kind of like, damn, Alex really just lost. He couldn't really get to Ankalaev with his left hook. He wasn't able to implement that calf kick like he's known to. So I do think that Alex is going to make some drastic changes in this rematch fight. I feel like he's going to be more aggressive. He's not going to, be as complacent or patient as he was in his last fight. And I feel like Ankalaev is going to, do his best to avoid that left hook as much as he can. So he's going to go for takedowns, try to hold Pereira down for as much as he can. So this one's going to be a dogfight. I feel like if Pereira has one more shot at doing this, having that title reign and keeping that aura, this is the match to do so. And I do think Pereira is going to get the dub. I'm going Alex Poatan to come out as champion yet again. And I don't even want to get into if he's moving up to heavyweight or fighting Chimaev. I just want to see him get the belt, So that's just all I gotta say for today's episode. I have a very exciting video for you guys after this as well, so make sure to stay tuned. Leave your predictions down below. I know I had some interesting ones, but that's just my take, and I'm gonna go with it, and hopefully we could have our predictions posted up and we could see our stats in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. We out. Peace.